not a babysitting industry. We really do prepare our children for school. We really do. And with us being, as Julia also mentioned, with us having the integrated services, we all pull together, and that sets the groundwork for ultimate lifelong success.
I gotta tell you how old I am. I was born before Head Start. So the role of parents are important at every level. In fact, they're the first teacher, the parents.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So and I have a little background in Head Start because part of my early public service career, I served on an agency called the Essex County Youth and Economic Rehabilitation Commission, which outside of the city of Newark oversaw all the Head Start agencies at that time. So the Parents Policy Council, I know, has a real voice
Yes.
in setting the policy of Head Start and
Yes.
setting the pace for Head Start. So tell us a little bit about that.
And thank you. First, I would like to share what I love about the Leaguers is we're just about everywhere. And we have sites. Where are we located? Newark. That's 553 Orange Street, Irvington,
Yes.
Elizabeth,
And Roselle.
and Roselle.
Yes.
So parents do have the opportunity of enrolling their children in those locations. Okay, and now back to parents having a voice for their children. Like you said, the parents are the first educators, and that's very, very important. I'm going to speak particularly about my son. You know, I have the courage to speak about it now. My son was classified with autism spectrum disorder, and the diagnosis was done on August the 15th. I was really distraught. I was one of those parents, no, not my baby. So the first thing that went to my head is, what do you mean my son is not going to learn? So the first thing that I had to do was find a suitable educational environment for my son. He needed to be enrolled immediately. I did a lot of research on the computer, but for some reason, Leaguers was the one that just stepped up. I mean, I was still a little foggy. I was just going through the motions at the time. But however, once I got into the North Orange Street Leaguers environment, they shared the same passion that I did about my son. They had the same concerns about my son, and they assured me that my son will learn. The first thing that I started doing was reading to my son at night. It's very good to do that because you leave words on the brain, so they wake up with those words embedded. So one of our favorite books was Goodnight Moon. So this is our version. As you can see, it's the rubber band is around it.
So I see this was a well-read.
Yeah, this is what I mean. Like when things happen like that to your children, as a parent, you just go full force. Things that you have not been doing, you like, I don't care, I'm doing it now. And we read this book every night. I was the reader. And then all of a sudden, as he started to get comfortable in the environment, his educational environment, my son started reading that book back to me. So every night I'm like, are you ready to read your book, Goodnight Moon? And I'm just so proud to hear him. Sometimes I have to slow him down, like, take your time and say the words clearly. So, and the importance about the relationship, like the advocate said, they really are family oriented in there, and that's very important because the parents need to feel comfortable leaving their children with anybody. And the family advocate, the whole institute, the environment, they are really in tune with the parents. And they also have a 100% open door policy. Now that's very, very important, meaning as a parent, you can come into these sites at any given time without notice into your child's classroom and observe. You can even participate. They want you to. You don't. And you can also observe the environment as a whole to see how that particular site operates. And you can participate, like, they're looking for your suggestions. They want your feedback. They want your advice because you know your child better than anyone else, and they want to collaborate with you. And this is why it comes to this point where now that we all have such a strong relationship, and when Christmas came around and they knew that me and Bobby, my son, was doing the Goodnight Moon reading and everything, and as we collaborated, that's what they gave him for Christmas. So this is the newer version of Goodnight Moon without the rubber band.
It was time.
Yeah, this is and see that blows my mind, you know. And you know the thing, we have the the school home connections, you know, the
Yes.
communications, we communicate, the assessment too. It's very
Yes.
important to me to know how my son's performance is, especially with his IEP program. The inclusions is right in the
Yes.
school. That's a beautiful thing. So, you know, as a parent with a child with a disability, like, step up to the plate for your child. Your child deserves that right, those privileges to that educational service. If you suspect something is wrong, do whatever you need to do possible, and trust me, Leaguers is the school, the organization for you.
Okay. Well, listen, you couldn't have had a more ringing endorsement from a parent.
Mhm.
So we've got about 5 minutes left, so I want to get this in very quickly. But it's important to know about the special needs services that the Leaguers provide as well. So, Fred, we've worked together on strengthening families in New Jersey, and you're working with the fatherhood program. How critical is, because sometimes people assume that in early childhood, that's for the ladies to handle. How critical it is for the father to be involved?
Well, man, they talked a lot about parent involvement. I
Yeah.
think they took all my answers. So, no, father involvement is key
Yes.
in the
Yes.
Leaguers. You know, all the way from Veronica Bray, our executive director, down to the maintenance men, understand that parent involvement and father involvement is key. So our objective is to promote healthy environments for our fathers. Not only healthy environments, we collaborate with the education department so we can build give our parents, not parents, our fathers. And fathers, when I speak of fathers, I'm not saying the biological father.
Right,
I'm
sure.
talking about any positive male role model in the
That's in
household.
that child's life. Yeah,
Yeah, so
absolutely.
we do several things to encourage our fathers to come out. One is that my father is a mad scientist, builder, storyteller, and chef. So these things, these
So the chef
activities.
doesn't fit in with the nutrition, does the chef?
Yes. See, it all's intertwined.
Yes.
It goes smoothly.
Yes, it
You
is.
see how
Yes, it
it
does.
just flows.
Okay.
Yes, it does.
So, with the that initiative, this My Father's a Mad Scientist, we not only give our fathers or positive male role models techniques to bring home for school readiness.
I got you.
Yeah.
That's not only the thing, but we build the kids, the children in our programs, cognitive skills, fine
Yes.
motor, gross development, you know, socio-emotional skills. We build that up for the children and the fathers. So we welcome fathers to our program. We also have a Saturday program that we ran last year. We're trying to bring it back together. It's 60 minutes of play.
Okay.
So I understand that the diversity of Irvington.
Right.
So, you know, I just didn't want to bring it to just basketball. So what I did is I talked to some of the fathers. So we did soccer and
Sure,
basketball.
Yes.
No,
So
absolutely.
Saturday mornings we wake up at 9 o'clock in the morning from 9 to 12. We invite the fathers out. We had breakfast
So I
with
can
them.
sign up because I played.
Yeah.
I played basketball in high school.
Matter of fact, right
Played
now
soccer. Wasn't no good, but I played.
Well, we need somebody to spearhead the basketball initiative.
All right.
You're more than
I may
welcome.
come out of retirement. So with that in mind, Richard, a very active local resident, is a member of the Parents Council. And so, Dad, tell us your point of view about Head Start.
You know what? I view Head Start as, especially with Leaguers, as a blueprint. Because you have all these new programs that's going to be starting up, coming soon. It's
Okay.
happening. And there's certain things that they're not going to have. The family advocate, they're not going to have that. You know, the healthy nutrition, they're not going to have that. I mostly eat vegetables in my house. We're vegetarians.
Okay.
But we eat fish, so we're not true vegetarians. And when I brought my son into the program, you know, I was concerned about what he was going to eat, so we prepared his food. I brought food in, and they told me, you don't have to do that. And I said, why not? They said, well, what is it that you want your child to eat?
Cater to your dietary.
And they
Yes.
cater to our dietary needs, and it's perfect. You know, for a person like me, you know, I'll give you a small background real quick. I know we'd be short. We have a limited amount of time, but the reason I got involved with Leaguers is because at one point I became disabled. You know, just about a couple years back after a major car accident. But when I took my son, when I signed up, they told me that I wasn't qualified because I made too much money. But being disabled, and I got a award letter from Social Security. When I went back, they said, "Oh yes, at this time you can,"
Yeah.
and which was great
Yeah.
because I was paying,
Right.
and my son wasn't learning.
Right.
To give you a quick point where everything intertwines
Right.
with health, nutrition. My son is at home. I cooked. I made Parmesan crusted tilapia with broccoli and corn.
You're making
I
me
said,
hungry.
I said to my son, eat all your food. including your vegetables. He said, okay, Dad. So he eats, but I noticed that he left the corn. I said, eat your vegetables. He said, I did. I said, no, you didn't. He said, well, Dad, corn is not a vegetable. So now
he learned that at the league.
I found myself learning. He was teaching me at this point because I had to stand corrected at this point and go Google it.
Yeah.
All my life I thought that corn was a vegetable.
We were the victim of that too.
So, you know, the core fundamentals overall, you're not going to get, and what I find in most communities, especially the African American community, is structure, and I would have to say, I don't want to, you know, rub anyone in the wrong way.
Yeah.
We lack discipline, and they get that at Leaguers.
Yes.
That's
They get
important
that.
as we wind this down. I'm going to encourage you, if you're looking for a early childhood education center of choice that provides for special needs and any of your other educational needs, make the Leaguers one of your choices. You can go in and sign up, see if you're income eligible to be a part of that program. We're excited that the Leaguers are still in Irvington providing quality early childhood education. Continue to do what you do, and this mayor is very proud of your work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Inside Irvington.
Thanks for having me.